I'm Caitlin, and welcome back to the Lit Review.
You might be wondering, Caitlin, why are you posting January's Litland in February? Well, it's because I didn't have the spoons in January, but I did film a really cool thing and I still want to share it with you, so you lucky beings, you get twice the Litland for the one of the shortest months of the year. So please sit back and enjoy. Let's see, I'm gonna end up like editing out some of the things I said I was gonna do in January, because clearly I didn't film those things. But what you can expect from me, hopefully in February, hopefully, is an updated covered book club for the folks. I've got some exciting romance-oriented challenges that I filmed this weekend that I'm really excited to introduce to you all and hopefully have you take part in. And then next week, I am gonna be taking part of a big bad readathon in March that I will be doing some early video content for. So keep your eyes on the prize. Keep watching. I don't know, some buzzwordy sounding thing that sounds good from an influencer. All right, back to your regularly scheduled content.
So let's talk about revamping and resetting. I kind of disappeared on you all for the latter half of 2021, and the quick and dirty answer there is I got super overwhelmed and stressed by trying to do this channel perfectly or right, and so I kind of self-sabotaged really hard. I won't go into it too much because that's probably for another video if anyone cares to listen to it. And I had like all these grand plans and they kind of just didn't come to fruition at all. And I realized that I need to let go of some of that expectation and perfectionism, which is why I'm doing some slight tweaks to Litland once again. And moving forward, I'm gonna keep all the most up-to-date current rules in the description box down below in case you ever wanna try to do something like this for yourself, or just so you wanna know what the most current rules are. If you've been here with me on Litland for a while, then you know the broad strokes of this game. It is my fancy board here. It was originally based on Candyland, but it's grown into its own thing pretty strongly here. And originally I took 5 polls every month with each color determined by a genre, and that's still true, except I'm going to do 4 polls instead of 5 in the hopes that I have more time and space to mood read, because I think that was part of what my problem was towards the end of the year, is I just wasn't getting to mood read, and then I frequently decided to just mood read instead of actually trying to accomplish a TBR that I had preset. I am rebooting Litland, and what I mean by that is not that the game has necessarily changed, but I'm sending myself back to start, because I was really inconsistent with what I was reading, and instead of taking punishments and making myself feel bad, we're just gonna start back from square one and, you know, total reboot, total reset. One last bit of excessive talking. I had this grand plan in December. I thought I was so clever. So clever. With the help of my amazing partner and fiance, Jeremy, I picked 18 books that I wish I had read in 2021. And then I allowed him to pick 12. Yeah, that's how math works. I allowed him to pick 12. Could be from my backlist or from his backlist. Just things he thought per genre that I should read or could read. And then my goal, and as you can see, I have a bunch of them still, was to, you know, pull them with Litland and unwrap them. So I'm still going to do that. It's going to take me longer than I anticipated because I selected too many books. Basically, I have a stack of 5 for each of the 6 genres. All of them are in this brown craft paper, with the exception of nonfiction, which are going to be in this blue craft paper because we ran out of brown craft paper. That's it. That's why nonfiction's fancy. Why that's relevant is you're going to see me unwrapping things for the first handful of months here in Litland, but because I filmed December Litland and never posted it, what ended up happening is that I unwrapped 3 books from my piles and didn't read them, so they're still in play whenever possible. So what I unwrapped in that ill-fated December Litland was one of my picks for romance, 40 Love by Olivia Dade. And then the other two, I happened to pick the two books that Jeremy selected for young adult, which were Rogue Princess by B.P. Myers and Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. So, what the heck that means, I'm not going to force these on myself because I'm not doing rollovers on a reboot. That's not how that works. But if I can fit these into any of the things I pick for January, I will, just to like keep it going with this whole fun unwrapping concept that I had. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. As always, big thank you to Becca from Becca and the Books and Cody from Cody's Book Corner for inspiring me to make my own TBR game. And I'm gonna stop talking and actually film some board game footage with you. How does that sound? Good? Okay.
All right, so just to remind everybody what's what, here is the Litland deck reshuffled and redone right. The pink cards are our challenge cards for if we land on one of those spaces with books. The green cards are our stuck square cards or punishment cards if need be. So if I land on one of these dots, or if I didn't complete a book, we got to pull one of those. And then up top in the corner, we have our troll bridge cards for if I'd like to cross a bridge or if I land on a rainbow square. Sorry, fingers super blurry, but hopefully that still made sense. You can see down here that Wilbur, our little porcelain pig friend, is back at start. So we're going to do 4 pulls this time around. Again, very blurry hand. 4 pulls. And see where we end up.
So one green is historical. Cool, we get to unwrap something because those other books are not historical. So my historical stack still has its full hefty stack to unwrap. You know what? I'm feeling feisty. We're going to tackle the biggest one. We're going to tackle the biggest one in this thing. The fun thing for me about the whole unwrapping is I know, in theory, what some of these could be, but I liked having Jeremy choose 12 of them too. So also, massive kudos to him for supporting my channel by doing this, but also like, look at this professional wrap job. He did such a good job. So I'm going to destroy his good work now. Okay, I need to do too good of a job. Okay, this is exciting. I was kind of hoping that this was what this is when I chose one of the bigger ones, but this is one of my picks that I wish I had read last year, and that is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. Part of the reason why I was really excited about this is there's like pictures in here. Like, I won't linger too long on that in case there's spoilers on that page. But there's pictures in here. There's like kind of some different formatting that I just think is really up my alley. I love books that do things like this. This does potentially have a twinge of horror to it, which is not normally my bag. But the part of this that makes it historical is that one of the initial potential settings here is in 1902. So specifically it says the Brookhampton School for Girls, where 2 students are madly in love. Huzzah! There's some LGBTQIA plus rep in here. So they are also really obsessed with this like myth, the story of Mary McLean. So both of the girls are found dead in the woods, and within 5 years the school closes. It's supposed to be heckin' haunted. So 100 years later, the school opens its doors once more when a crew of young actresses arrive to film a movie. And the things that are rumored about the Brookhampton curse. So the past and present start to collide, and there's a lot of like mystery to this, but there's a bit of the historical setting. And yay, pick number 1. This is, a purple times 2, and purple is my miscellaneous color, so that could be a bunch of anything. It could be poetry, a classic, a mystery or a thriller, just basically anything that doesn't fit in the categories I already have. This is my miscellaneous stack. One of these, or if not multiple of these, is very clearly a graphic novel, I think. So I think I'm gonna pick one of the smaller ones and then one of these like medium sized ones. So these are the ones that I think might be graphic novels, these two here. And I'm gonna pick this one and see what happens. I just made the Scooby noise because I don't recognize this at all. This must be one of Jeremy's graphic novels. What are you? This is Supreme Blue Rose. I know nothing about this. Warren Ellis and Tula Lotte. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. My apologies in advance. I almost don't want to make eye contact with the back too much because I kind of like that I got nothing. This is a Jeremy pick for sure because I don't recall purchasing this, which is cool. That's why I asked him to do that. If any of you read this, I'm gonna leave it at that. I know I normally like to give you a quick summary of things, but I like not knowing for now. All right, that was super fun. This is like illustrating the point of why this was actually worth our time and energy. Cool. Okay, so I'm not gonna choose the other one that I think is a graphic novel. That feels like maybe I should save that for a rainier day. And then I'm gonna choose one of these three. I'm just gonna go for the middle one. Middle one here. Oh, cool. So I ended up picking Anxious Bachman. That's probably true based on how he writes. Frederick Bachman's Anxious People. This is definitely one of the ones I picked because I could not believe that I didn't read this year. I've always wanted to pick up some Frederick Bachman, and this one in particular kind of called to me based on the synopsis. I won't go into too much detail because I think this has the potential to be one of those blurbs on the back that gets a little spoilery. So I'll just read the first sentence from the back. It says, looking at real estate isn't usually a life or death situation, but an apartment open house becomes just that when a failed bank robber bursts in and takes a group of 8 strangers hostage. So I just think that's a really fun and unique premise. I wouldn't necessarily know how to categorize a lot of Bachman's work from a genre perspective. I guess if I had to take a pick, it would be literary fiction, but we'll see how this goes. I'm really excited to add this to the TBR and scratch another one off of the books I wish I had read in 2021 list. My favorite color. Part of why you didn't see me for like 3 months because all I did was read romance. So I'm glad to see this. 1 red equals romance here. And this actually works out perfectly because I can slide in the Olivia Dade pick. Basically, I feel like Olivia Dade as an author blew up last year in terms of hype, and I really want to see what she's about. I have heard that her books are often like body positive or fat positive, depending on how you phrase that. In particular, I like that this one has a heroine that is 40. So our main character, Tess Dunn, is on vacation, and her top falls off when she's in the ocean, and she's like desperately trying not to flash children on a beach, and she is rescued by this very, very handsome man. And it turns out he is the tennis instructor at the resort that Tess is staying at. And so this is an age gap romance, as well as kind of a vacation romance. I'm really interested in this. I want to check out Olivia Dade, and I hear really good things about this. So happy to officially add this back to the TBR. All right, last pull. Okay, so I'm gonna go here, and then I can either go this way or around this way. Technically this path is like a little bit longer, but I would avoid the stuck square. So if I go here versus here, that actually takes me further along that path, so I think I'm gonna go this way. So this is an orange ×2, and orange is my color for sci-fi and fantasy. For this actually works out perfectly. Originally, these 2 books were my young adult picks, or I should say Jeremy's young adult picks, because I didn't pick these. These were Jeremy's picks for part of my young adult pile, but they also happen to both be fantasy or sci-fi. So I think I'm just going to go with these two. So let me roll that back and talk to you a little bit about them. So it comes as no surprise, I've mentioned this before, but Brandon Sanderson is one of Jeremy's favorite authors, if not his favorite author of all time. Jeremy is the reason I started reading the Mistborn trilogy. I am willing to bet dollars to donuts that there's another Brandon Sanderson somewhere in these wrapped books. But for right now, we're going to look at Skyward, which is his young adult sci-fi title. So our main character in this is Spensa, and she really wants to be a pilot. However, one of the big hurdles of this is that her father, a former pilot himself, is seen as a traitor. So then, of course, there is a way for her to become a pilot, because of course that's how narratives work. But this gets really good reviews. I really like Brandon Sanderson's writing, so I actually am very excited to see this on the TBR, and I'm glad he ended up picking this. Definitely moved it higher up on my stack of priorities, so I'm glad to be able to return this to the top this January. And that leaves us, last but not least, with Rogue Princess by B.R. Myers. This is one that Jeremy pulled from my normal filming space. And point blank, I picked this from a used bookstore because it had a very pretty cover. So this follows Princess Delia, who knows that she is intended to make a political match, but she dreams of true love. In that quest to create her own fate and find her true love, she decides to steal a spaceship, a royal spaceship to be specific, and in the course of that ends up kidnapping a stowaway who was just trying to get off-world, and maybe, just maybe, there might be some sparks flying for them. And of course that's not all. They unwittingly discover a rebel conspiracy. It is a gender-bent YA version of Cinderella, so I'm actually kind of excited for this. I'm also excited that I could slide both of, or I guess all three of my accidental non-picks from last month into this month. So it feels like this was a pretty successful reboot from my end of things. For January, I'm going to have to read these 6 books out of my 4 picks here in order to not take a punishment. So under these kind of new and revised rules, I can always read other things, and I do still keep my rollover rule from before. So I technically have like 2 months to read these, but I'm actually really excited about how this TBR shook out. So this is good stuff. Thank you all for your really kind messages in the last couple of months. I'm sorry that I disappeared on all of you, but I'm so happy to be back. And I hope that you enjoyed this rebooted version of Litland. We'll get back in the swing of things sooner rather than not, because this is still my favorite thing to film every single time. So thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me or, this channel. And I'll see you in the next one.